Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Following the Rules. At work there was a strict rule about not taking long breaks. So I decided to follow the rule literally, but with a twist. I started taking a 30-second break every 5 minutes. If I was in a meeting, I'd raise my hand and say, "Excuse me, quick break," and step out for a moment. At first, my colleagues were confused, but they soon realized I wasn't breaking any rules. I was taking short breaks, exactly as allowed. The result? Breaks became part of the office culture. Before long, everyone started pausing work every few minutes. Eventually, management caught on and revised the rule, allowing breaks every half hour instead of just once an hour. It's funny how following the rules too well can sometimes lead to real change. The next story is called A Few Fries. This story is from a while ago, when I was at a restaurant with a few friends late at night. I ordered some fries, and my friends just ordered drinks. After a while, I needed to step away to use the restroom. Before I left, I told them, "Feel free to have a few fries while I'm gone. Just leave me at least one." Well, you probably know where this is going. When I came back, the fries were gone. But instead of leaving me empty-handed, my friends had already ordered me another plate of fries. We laughed about it the whole time, and of course they paid for both orders. It's a funny memory we still joke about to this day. The third story is called Oven Cleaning. A half-century ago, during my time in the Air Force, I experienced the dreaded basic training. One of the infamous parts of cadet life was KP, or Kitchen Patrol. A day spent doing grunt work in the base show hall. My turn came, but it didn't go quite as expected. Between swapping stories and clowning around with my fellow KP recruits, I was actually having a pretty good time. This, of course, irritated the sergeant in charge. Determined to wipe the grin off my face, he started assigning me harder tasks and separating me from my friends. Finally, he sent me to the dreaded pots and pans station. Picture this: sweltering Texas heat, scrubbing greasy cookware with hot water sprayers and heavy brushes. Within minutes, my cotton fatigues were soaked in sweat, but I kept my spirits up. What else can you do? Then came the moment. "Get over here, I've got a job for you." "Yes, sir?" He pointed to a small oven, its interior caked with baked-in spills and blackened crusts. "Clean this oven. I want it to shine like that table." He gestured to a gleaming stainless steel work surface and handed me a pumice scrubbing block. I got to work, but it didn't take long to notice the abrasive block was scratching the enamel. Trying to clarify, I asked, "Sir, you sure you want it to look shiny like the table? This enamel?" Did I stutter? "Just do the job," he snapped and stormed off. So I kept scrubbing. Soon I'd worn through the enamel, exposing bare steel. I was working around the edges, utterly exhausted, when the civilian chef who ran the kitchen noticed me. Her voice rang out across the clatter of the show hall. "Honey, what are you doing to my oven?" The room went silent, save for the faint bubbling of a pot. I put on my best clueless voice. "Well, ma'am, the sergeant told me to make it shine like that table." I pointed at the stainless steel surface. Her face hardened. "I'm gonna end him." Moments later, she was towering over the sergeant, unleashing a tirade. All I could hear from him was, "Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Won't happen again, ma'am." He shot me a furious look, but didn't dare argue with her. But watching that chef put the sergeant in his place was totally worth it. The next story is called Immediate Response. I often receive mail from insurance companies, legal services, warranty providers and the like. Instead of just tossing it out, I decided to start responding to them. If they include a return envelope with postage paid, I write a polite note saying, "No, thank you," and send it back. If there's a phone number provided, I call and explain all the reasons why I'm not interested in their service. When they ask why I called, I mention the immediate response requested printed on their paperwork. So far, no one has found it particularly amusing. The upside? My mailbox is a lot less cluttered these days. The fifth story is called Half a Day. My father and his friend were attending a course designed to meet corporate standards. Both of them already had good, well-paying jobs and were doing this course purely to enhance their knowledge, not for any career advancement. The course was split into phases, and this particular one lasted 18 days. The rules were strict. Only one leave was allowed, and taking more than that meant redoing the entire phase. Since the course center was about 2 hours away from our city, they commuted daily. They usually tried to arrive early, but one day there was unusually heavy traffic, and they ended up being about 10 to 15 minutes late. When they arrived at 10:15, the course supervisor informed them they would be marked absent for half the day. Both of them explained the reason for their delay and pointed out that the lecture hadn't even started yet. Unfortunately, their appeals were dismissed. The irony? The lecturer himself was stuck in the same traffic and didn't arrive until after 11. Frustrated, they decided to make a point. At 5 p.m., in the middle of the ongoing lecture, they calmly packed their bags and began to leave. The lecturer looked confused, and the course supervisor was furious. He asked them what they were doing. They simply replied, "Following the rules. If we are expected to arrive at 10 sharp, we should be able to leave at 5 sharp." The course supervisor didn't know how to handle this. He shouted at them, threatening to mark them absent for the entire day and even remove them from the course. But my father and his friend weren't fazed. They left anyway. Both had jobs to fall back on and didn't feel threatened by the course supervisor's warnings. The next day they showed up at exactly 10 a.m., ignored the supervisor's glares and left at 5 p.m. again. This bold move inspired other students to follow their example, leaving at 5 sharp as well. This created a bit of a headache for the course organizers, as they had to pay extra to bring the lecturers back the following day to finish the session. In the end, the course wrapped up after 18 days, and both my father and his friend passed with flying colors. The last story is called Running Water. In my department, we share a downstairs bathroom with another department and 2 secretaries. The bathroom is about 15 feet away from one of the secretary's desks and the customer service area. When I started working here, I was informed of an unwritten rule. The upstairs bathroom was for, let's say, longer visits, while the downstairs one was for quick trips. I've always followed this guideline. After a few months, my boss pulled me aside about the downstairs bathroom. He asked if I'd been running the water when I used it. Confused, I told him no. Apparently, one of the secretaries, Amanda, had mentioned that hearing me use the bathroom made her uncomfortable. My boss politely asked if I could turn the sink faucet on during my visits, to avoid further complaints. I agreed. Today I went to the downstairs bathroom and, as requested, turned on the faucet. While there, I felt a little, well, let's say pressure. Seizing the moment, I let out a very noticeable sound. It echoed a bit more than I expected. After finishing up, I washed my hands and walked out, noticing Amanda's less than thrilled expression. Not long after, my boss called me over to her desk because she wanted to talk to him. She complained about the noise, calling it unprofessional. My boss calmly asked, "Was the water running?" She confirmed it was. Without missing a beat, he responded, "Then we are done here," and walked back to his desk. When he returned, he gave me a knowing grin. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.